Hi guys, welcome to the flight today as we're down in Berlin and with Austrian Star Alliance for the 737-800 PMDG. We're doing a flight down into Innsbruck using the RNP for 2.6 approach with the AR, which is the authorization required, so it's a special approach for the RNAV into runway 26. Got the Topcat performance, which is going to take us in for our departure at 25 left as we get ready to go down into a lovely Laui. So don't forget to like and subscribe guys, leave your comments down below, and now we get inside the aircraft and start up ready to leave. So we're inside the 737-800 now, so go overhead, get the battery on and guarded, standby power is guarded and ground power is on. Alarm the emergency exit lights, get the chimes, fasten seatbelt signs which are checked, light up the panel, go overhead, get the irises 1 and 2 to nav, check the flaps, which we can test, flight recorder, which can be tested, we get the voice recorder, which is on, pats can go to auto, APU lead on leave for the time being. As we check on the charts, we're going to be leaving out for a flight level of 300, and the elevation coming down into 26 for Innsbruck is going to be 1894, so put that to 1900. Okay, we just checked. Any collision light can go on. We get the window heats 1, 2, 3 and 4. Go down into the FMC, we get the IRS position, so we've got Echo Delta Delta Bravo. Punch that in, grab it from the left GPS. Go to our routing, got Lima Oscar Whiskey India. Okay, which is checked. Leaving out on the departure runway, we're leaving out for 25 left, and we're going to be taking the Lewis at 1 November, which is going to be out on the departure. From Lewis, got the Yankee 211, which will take us to Bebku. We've got the Zulu 36. Then we go straight to Marum. From Marum, we're then going to Rudap. From Rudap, we've got the Papa 31. Say to Dossel, then we've got the Mike 736. We say to Tulsi. Okay, which is checked. So we'll go to the departure and then we'll hit the arrival. So for the arrival, we've got the Tulsi 3 Alpha. That's going to be coming down for the RNAV. I'll just double check which one it is for the AR that we've got. So it's the RNP Zulu. Okay, which is going to be for 2.6, and transition will be for Rattenberg. So we'll activate that up, activate that, go into our perfs, request that all through. I'll just wait for that to load. We've got 300, check the cost index, we've got the total performance for the takeoff as well, which should be very nice. So give that a few seconds, there we go, load that in, activate that to accept. We've got flight level of 300, cost index is going to be 38. On for the top of climb winds, 281 at 58. So 38, 281 at 58, and that's going to give us our minus 49. Okay, which is checked. Gone to the N1 limit. Now for the D rate, we've got a normal takeoff, so we'll leave at 26k, and we've got flex 52, which is 92.1, which we need 92, so that's bang on perfect. Go set the runway winds 240 at 14. Runway slope is minus at 0.1. Okay, we're going back out for flaps 5. So it's 137, 142 and a 147 for V2. So 147, V2 plus 20, which will be 167. Okay, which is checked. Flight directors can now go on. Even out at the runway, it should manage to be around 254. So we'll do that once we line up. Let me have a look at the charts again. 34, 300 over on the MCP altitude. Okay, now that's checked. Go ahead, get the one pump in. So we're going to start with our pumps up. Get the APU started. Okay, which is checked. Your damper can now go on. Get the electrics on, which are checked and set. APU bleed can be on with the bleeds off. Switch over to the APU gen once that's ready. Everything overhead seems to be above order. We'll get the panel lights in for the FMC. Now I'll show you guys the departure that we're going to take today out of Berlin for 25 left. So we've got the Star Alliance for Austrian. We're going to come down for the 26 approach, which is the AR, so the authorization required approach. EGT is now coming back down for the APU. We'll switch over onto the buses and then we'll get ready to depart, which should be very nice and easy. Whilst we're waiting for that to happen, we can also tell the doors etc. to go, so the doors can be closed. Ground services, which you can release. APU is going to switch back over. 1 and 2. Go to the APU gen, which is fine. Release the ground power. Release the stairs. TA, which is checked, and we are now ready to go. So we'll call a pushback in just one moment once we get the QNH. QNH is 1013, so we can leave that over, which is going to be there 1013, which is checked. Auto brakes RTO, only auto throttle. LNAV etc. Alarm that once we get out on the taxiway. And as the stairs now are leaving, we can now go and call the tug. Okay, make sure the brakes are on. For some reason, every time we load in with the cold and dark, the brakes are off. So call the tug in. Standard L. Connect the tug. We'll be going to the right. Now remember yesterday when we was leaving out of Luton, we're going to the right, which is fine. So we can start that.
Cockpit to ground.
That's going to be turned off.
We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left. Roger that. Ready to push. Tail to the left. Park brakes off.
Okay, brakes released.
Brakes released.
Okay, 245. Ground will be on for number 2. Okay, here we go. So, engine number 2 to ground, start valve will open, all pressure temps will come to life slowly but surely. 25% will inject fuel, then we'll see the EGT start to increase for engine number 2. Okay, so we're going to be pushing back, we're going to go straight down, make a left, line up for 25 left, and then shoot straight out. So it should be a very quick and easy departure today. 26% fuel's injected, EGT will now start to increase. And there's engine number 2 now coming to life. So there's the D rate, 92.1, meaning 92%, which is perfect for us today. There's EGT now increasing for engine number 2, which is fine. Okay, start to cut out, we'll come back 56%, then we'll go in for engine number 1. So there's 56%, start to cut out's back, engine number 1 which can go in. As EGT for 2 will now stabilise, start valves open, N2's increasing. Again, all pressure temps will come to life slowly but surely.
Pushback complete. Parking brake set.
Okay, parking brake is set.
Brake set.
23, 24 and 25%. EGT will now start to rise.
Alright, steering pin is disconnected. Watch for the slope release from guidance on your left. Have a good flight.
Okay, see you soon, bye bye. Okay, so we are now ready to leave as we come out. So we're going to come down, make a left, and then basically make another left, come around the back end of 25 left, and that'll be us all set to come in. So EGT, there's a starter cutout, just over 56%, which is done. We've gone to our leg, 600, 77, so it'll be continuous climb out. So we'll switch over the buses, Gen 1 and 2, which is checked. Go to Gen 1, get the probes on, isolation reverse to auto, packs to auto, bleeds can go on with APU bleed off, APU is off, engine start switches are continuous, ding the cabin, let them know that we are all ready to leave. Get the centre of gravity in before we do start our taxi out, 421. Okay, so we say it's checked. And we are now ready to taxi, so we'll have a look at the taxi charts just before we do depart. Check the recall, which is clear. Flaps 5, which can go down. So we're basically going to move on to a right, come down all the way to Victor, make a left to Bravo, and then come in onto Mike 8. So we're right here. So we're just going to come down, make a left, and then a right straight onto the runway. Okay, so we are now ready to leave. Everything else is all set for us to go. Okay, so runway turn off lights, taxis can go on, ding the cabin, and away we go. Weather's quite clear down in Innsbruck today. This evening we'll be going from Sion, where we was yesterday. We've done our flight down into lovely Sion, into the Mountain Valley approach. We'll be departing from there tonight. I don't know where we'll be going yet, but we'll be departing from there as we then ride out onto a lovely flight. Hopefully it's somewhere nice and scenic with some snow. So we'll make this left-hand turn. Nice quick departure. As we leave out, make a left-hand turn. Straight as we run through. Right LNAV. We now can come in as well. Okay, 30 knots, come back. Now we'll come to Alpha. Now we'll go on to the Mike 8, which will be our first right-hand turn. So in some directions it upsets the aircraft. Back on the PC in a few days, so we'll have a lot more better performance than that. It's obviously something in that direction that triggers off the aircraft. Once we turn onto this right and then get on the runway, the the performance will go back to normal. There's just something that's in this direction that's obviously triggering this off. So mic 8's over to the right, first right, which we're going to take. Got a D rate 52, which is 92, got 91.3 now, the engines are up and running, so that's fine for us. Okay, in the cabin, tell them to get ready. So there's something in that direction, which obviously the aircraft isn't happy with. So we're going to go onto that mic 8 now. Now we'll see the performance come back to normal as we just spin onto this right. There we go. So something in that direction which isn't happy about. As we go over the hold short now, we get the runway turn-offs, which are all on, strobes are on and checked. Okay, so here we are now at runway 25 left. We are all ready to go. Landing lights which can go on, cabin has been notified, recalls checked, flaps 5, green light, water brake set, coming out of the 245. So that is us now all ready to go. So we'll push forward on the column, powering up to 45%. Okay, stabilised, and so we go. Airspeed live. Check, throttle hold. 100, neutral on the column. Rotate. All very sharp there.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. So we're going to hold a V2 plus 20, which is going to be 167. Nav's now engaged. What's that? Left hand turn. Okay, as we're in climb power now, the aircraft's going to accelerate. We'll just pitch down, trim the aircraft out. Okay, which is set. Water brake can now be turned off, gears up and off, which is checked as well. So go to speed check, go to flaps 1, taxis, runway turn off, switch are off. So speed check, flaps 1. Aircraft will nose down just a little from the drag, which is going to be lost. Damage is set, aircraft's quite stable. Have a look outside. Okay, flaps up, speed check. Let's get ready for that left hand turn now. We're just going to hold for 230. That will fly manually until we hit that left hand turn. And once we hit that left hand turn, we'll then brake off. So 250 now on the speed, which is going to go on. After takeoff checklist, we've got the auto brake, which is off. Gears up, no lights. Flaps are up, no lights. Packs are auto, bleeds are on. Leave the engine start switch to continuous until we just move around. Trim the aircraft out. Okay. So the aircraft's all trimmed out now, so we can take our hands off the controls. We're just going to now brake into that left-hand turn, which is going to take us on to the 147 track. Okay, 147, which is in. Passing through 7001. There's that left-hand turn. It's passing 9,000 feet now. QNH is going to go over to standard. Landing lights, which can be turned off. Seatbelts. Engine start switches to normal, and cabin can be released. So down to 10,000, we'll go to our climb speed, which is going to be for the cruise. CMDA, which is on. And the aircraft's now going to follow them lovely views all the way to Innsbruck. TARA, which is checked, and up to 300 we go. Passing through 11,006. Something in that direction that's triggering the aircraft off. As we track that 147 to the 070. Okay, which is also checked. So there's something in that direction that's clearly triggering the aircraft off. We're going to be going straight from Berlin all the way down onto our right hand turn, so that'll be fine in a minute. That's partially 13,000 feet. All the way up for flight level 300, and then that'll be us until we reach down into Laui, which on progress, Laui's 1343. We're looking to get there for around in about just under an hour's time. Then we'll take a right hand turn, which will take us onto the 168. There, which is checked. As we ride for the RNP AR, which is the authorization required approach, which means certified pilots are only allowed to fly this approach for the RNF. So it should be a nice arrival. We'll get fully configured by Rattenberg, and then we'll come in. We can take a look at the arrival chart as well, which we can do right now. So we're going to come in for the Tulsi 3 Alpha. Tulsi's right here for 9,500 above. We're coming on the 155. We'll hit the Rattenberg VOR, which is going to be the 303. From there we hit the RNP Zulu runway 26 AR, which is the authorization required approach. And then once we hit Rattenberg, we're basically going to come down onto the 232, holding 9,500. The aircraft will be fully established. We'll get geared down, and then we're going to run the 244 for 16 nautical miles. As we're going to be riding down on a 3.5 degree approach, and the descent rate is going to be quite a high one for us anyway. So probably be riding down around 1,000, just under 900 feet per minute on the approach. And then missed approach point is at decision altitude 2,500 for 606. It's 606 because the runway's elevation is 1894. And the RNP is 0.15, or we could do the 0.30. So it all depends. What you'd have to do is for the RNP, when we set that up, we can see that the aircraft's required navigational performance is 1 nautical mile. Our actual navigational performance to the fix is 0.7, so 7/10. When we come down the approach, we'll change that to either 0.15 or 0.30, and we can see on the progress as well that the RNP approach, vertical RNP, is 0.30, so we can run the 30 down onto the 26 approach, which is fine. And weather's clear down in Innsbruck, so we should get a nice view of all the lovely scenery coming down. Tonight we'll be going out of Sion, which is where we arrived last night. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out, which is the video just before this one, which was absolutely spectacular scenes. There should be some snow down in Innsbruck, hopefully. That should be something to see as well, so it should be snowed in, it's that time of the year now. Just passing flight level 200 as the aircraft now rides out. Lovely views as we leave Berlin. So just under around 50 minutes we've got until we start that approach down onto runway 26 for the RNP Zulu. Riding with Austrian Airlines, but the Star Alliance. So now coming in on the 168 and then the 199. So I'll put the 199 in, so then we don't have to track that back. Okay, 199, which is set. As we run up to flight level 300, so enjoy the climb out, guys. There's some lovely views. As the sun starts to come down in the sim. Getting ready for that right turn to the 199 track. Just passing 25,000, flight level 250, up for 300. Then the aircraft will stabilise itself. Can run in, probably get there a little bit quicker. As we'll change decimal 79 on the mark, we'll go to decimal 80. Then on the descent, put it back down to decimal 79, so we don't have a higher descent rate. That's fine. Cruise, descent, which is fine, 200 nautical miles until we do start the top of descent to come down into Innsbruck. There's that right hand turn onto the 199. So enjoy the views, and I will see you in about 20 minutes time when we get prepared for the descent into Innsbruck. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, if you enjoy the content. Well, new community members are always welcome here on the channel. So be sure to click that bell so you don't miss tonight's flight when we depart out of Sion. And I'll see you in about 20 minutes time when we start our top of descent down into Innsbruck for the 26 RNP Zulu for the AR approach. So we can see with the weather change now, visibility is just slowly deteriorating just a little bit as we rise up, just a little bit of mist. On the approach, check everything out. So for Bebku, which we're going direct to 9 nautical miles, going to be there, 1000 to go, it's 300. You can see with the sun's glare now we're up to 300. Visibility is a little bit down up here. We're rocking that left-hand turn to take us onto the 186 track. Okay, which is checked. There's 300, which is now in. Once we arrive, reset the MCP altitude, which you shouldn't need to just yet. There's our top climb, 300, which is in. So the aircraft got there a little bit early today. Here's our top of descent. Let's go and check the map on the plan. Okay, so we've got Bebku, Renard Picket and Narum, top of descent for Banter. Set the forecast up as well, so that'll probably re-trigger. There's Tulsi. And then we've got Randenburg, which is the transition, and then we fly all the way down into the runway. So from Ratberg, the Whiskey 1002, that's going to be the 3.5 degree descent path. And then as you can see, we are offset by just a little bit. As we can see, it should tell us on the charts as well. We'll disconnect at minimums, fly the aircraft visually down. Okay. There's the localizer. Mid-approach RNP below 10. Okay. Decision height, we'll do 267, which gives us 776. As we're going to come offset, and then the aircraft will spin a right, but by minimums we'll disconnect and then fly the aircraft manually down. So there's Rattenberg. Rattenberg's right there. Come down onto the Whiskey India 002. Which is going to be right here, if you're at 9,500 feet, and then we descend down 3.7 onto that 3.5 degree glide path. So there's a 3.5, 3.5, and we'll probably come in at just around 900 feet per minute on the descent. So that's all fine for us. And then as we step down, there's a runway, the aircraft will line itself up. We'll disconnect by then, make a right hand turn, and we'll be ready and set to come in for lovely Innsbruck. So we can see some of that cloud layer has disappeared now, so we can get some lovely views. Weather's not too bad. It's clear down in Innsbruck, so it's not too bad, I suppose. Check the METARs one more time, just to keep up with things. So we can update the FMC, 1020 for the QNH, 100 at 4 knots, so winds are calm. Cloud visibility is okay. And winds are varying from 070 to 140. So that's all good for us. We'll just make sure in the FMC that the aircraft did put down the 300, so there we go, only 300. Okay, that's fine. Top of climb will now disappear. Proceed forward to decimal 80 on the mark. And then we're going to track basically straight down the 186 until we get down to about that barracks, and then barracks onto that right hand turn, and there is Tulsi for our arrival at 9,500 above. Make sure that should be all good. 300 now, the aircraft's doing a lovely job as we fly overhead. So the RNP Zulu 26, which is the AR. The AR, if you ever see the AR on any of the charts, it means authorization required. So it's like for certified pilot training, etc. So we're going to fly that one today down into the runway. By the time we get down to Randenburg, we're going to make sure we're down into at least like a flaps 10, and then we can start to slow the aircraft down as we come through, as we're going to be coming down around 900 feet per minute. So around flaps 10, get the aircraft configured, and then as we get nearer to the airport, as it's still 16.5 nautical miles from the Whiskey India 002 fixed down to our missed approach point, we'll hold flaps 10. If we need to, we can drop down 15 and gear down. Gear down will give us a little bit more drag on the approach. I hope you guys are enjoying the flight. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe, as we'll be here this evening, ready for when we fly out of Sion, which we did yesterday, so make sure you go and check that flight out, as that was a lovely approach down. We did the IGS for 2.5. So there's our right hand turn now, as we track inbound, ready for barracks before the Randenburg BOR. So we'll track in, we'll check that up, the 191 now, and then sort of 185. Okay, so might as well leave that on the 185. Just going to track left again. It's pretty much a direct straight line coming down into Innsbruck. There's not a lot of left and right turns, it's just literally direct in. We'll go over the approach briefing one last time just before we do get near. But we're now going to make a left hand turn from Marim, which will take us to Badap, then Badap to Barracks, Barracks to Banta, and then Dezin to Tulsi. And then Tulsi is the start of the arrival, and we should then start to see some mountains, etc. once we come in. So we get the terrain on as well. Terrain should bump through. Get terrain on the first officer side as well. Now we track left onto the 185, and that's where we're going to pretty much hold now until we go all the way in. So we'll move it over onto the first officer side so we can see. There we go, so we hold the 185 now for roughly just over 80 nautical miles, and then that'll be us ready for our top of descent. We'll update the weather, get the forecast in, and then the aircraft will recalculate its top of descent point to compensate for the winds, and then we'll be ready to come down onto the runway. Engine NCI switch can go on. Actually lovely blue engines for Austrian, so it's the Star Alliance livery. Winds are very calm at the moment. They calmed down 4 knots down in Innsbruck. So I say roughly around 30 odd minutes time we'll be down on the ground. Don't forget, again, be here this evening when we fly out from Sion. And if you haven't seen the flight from yesterday, then make sure you go and check that out, as that was a lovely IGS approach 25 down into Sion, Switzerland. We'll be departing from Sion this evening, and then I don't know where we'll be going. I'll find a nice lovely place for us to go, a nice approach as well that we can try and test out. Still holding down. Progress now. By the time we get down, top of descent's 1323 and 1342, so 19 minutes after our top of descent we should be down in Innsbruck. 23, so we're going to be down in just around 17 minutes. We're going to start our top of descent, and then another 20 odd minutes after that we will be down on the ground into runway 26. I'm not going to do the circle to land, we're doing the RNP Zulu AR for 26, the authorised required. So it's going to be a straight in, disconnect, right turn, line up, and then we'll be in for the runway. That should be a very nice one. But we'll go over that more once we get a little bit closer. Once we get down near to Badip or Rudip, we'll then start to put our top of descent winds and everything in for the aircraft so it can recalculate. So you give the aircraft just a heads up on what's going on before we start our top of descent. Otherwise you can start it too late, and then before you know it the aircraft's descending at such a rapid rate trying to capture the VNAV profile for the vertical deviation that things will start getting out of control. Your speed will run away, and if you disconnect out of that and go into VNAV speed because you're too far out of the VNAV profile, then it won't go back into VNAV path, which we're going to need to get into for us to ride the RNAV approach. The RNAV approach won't follow the descent glide path down if it's in VNAV speed, so you need to make sure that the aircraft's always following down with the vertical deviation. Otherwise, if it goes too far out, then you'll switch into VNAV speed because it can't capture the path, and then it's going to basically just ride out on the descent path for your speed that you're holding. If you go into level change and then you're too far out of the vertical deviation point, you'll just go straight into VNAV speed. So if you was like on VATSIM and you was descending using level change or vertical speed, you come out of VNAV path straight into vertical speed mode or level change mode. If you was too far out of the vertical deviation point, then the aircraft wouldn't capture the VNAV profile again. You have to physically or manually capture the VNAV profile for the vertical deviation, which then the aircraft will switch back into VNAV path. If you click it any time before that, then the aircraft will go into VNAV speed. And that's not going to really be very good coming in onto the RNAV approach, because you need LNAV and VNAV when coming in on this approach. So, weather's quite calm here. As we say, Lowry's only 4 knots, so it's not too bad down on the runway. It should be quite calm as we ride in. We'll calculate our approach speed and everything while we do our forecast winds. We're only another 40 odd miles now, 45 nautical miles to go until we hit for Rudap, and then Rudap we'll start putting the forecast winds in to get the aircraft updated for Lowy. But again, we'll be here tonight with Sion, and it should be a really nice scenic view when we depart Sion, ready to come in for wherever we decide to fly this evening. So be sure to stick around for that. Around 6 PM we'll be here ready for that flight this evening in the 737-800 Zebo, well not Zebo, the PMDG. Winds are quite calm up here today. It's not rocky at all. The aircraft's very stable. Got some slight clouds in the vicinity just ahead of us as we're still at flight level 300. You can see our top of descent, which is literally just down near Dussel. Then we've got towards for 9,500 above, which is at the start of the arrival. It's only 2 fixes to Rattenberg, which is the transition. Then we fly the 3.5 degree glide path straight down into runway 26 for the RNP, or the RNAV approach. Ground speed is currently 474. So around that to 500. If we descended at around a rate of 2,500 feet, we could clear off 100 nautical miles in around 15 minutes. Depending on our distance to go from our top of descent, 78 nautical miles to go, 175, so around about 100 odd miles as 300, so 369 plus winds, about 100 nautical miles. So the aircraft's just on point for about 100 nautical miles to get down into Laui. We're at 9,500 feet, so 10, 2, 4, 6, 7, 70 nautical miles, which will give us around 30 nautical miles before we actually reach down onto the runway. 16.5 nautical miles from the Whiskey India 002 fix, which is where we start the 3.5 degree glide path. Some lovely cloud layer now as we just approach over. And then we're going to go on to our track, which is going to take us from Rudip, then we've got Barracks, and from Barracks 202, I'm just going to basically take us to Dagenham, and then that's going to take us to 218. Okay, so once we hit Rudip, we'll put the forecast winds in, check the METARs, input that into the aircraft, and then proceed to get the aircraft configured ready for our approach. Hey BK my man, good evening, well good afternoon pal, hope you're doing well mate. Not too far now from Innsbruck as we get to arrive down onto the 26. Hope you enjoyed the flight last night to Sion. We're going to be going back out there this evening, so we will have some lovely snow all down on the vicinity, right down, up down through the mountain valley on the departure. I don't know where we're going to be flying to yet, but I'll figure that out at some point. And then once we get that all figured, it should be a really nice scenic approach. We'll try and get a nice approach in that we can try out today. It's a shame that the aircraft hasn't got the LPV for the 737 or the multi-mode receiver, or we could try some different approaches, but we've got all of the essentials, VOR, RNAV, IGS, ILS systems, so we can perform them. So here's Rudap. I'm going to bug in now to 218. Okay, which is checked, and we're going to go down onto the forecast page and get the aircraft all set up. But yeah, Sion was a really nice approach last night. I think that's the best looking approach that I've done in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I would say. That was very, very, very scenic, very nice to look at. So, trans flight level. Okay, by OTC. So I'm going to put it for 17,000. Okay, which is checked. METARs are variable at 2. Now let's go get our forecast winds for the arrival onto the descent. So we get 200, 100, and 5. Onto the top of descent now as we come through. 279 at 36. Then we've got 261 at 37. And for the arrival, which is 270 at 5. Okay, there's our top of descent, plug that in, That's recalculated now, and that's us all set up for the approach. The aircraft's now updated, so we are ready to come in. Thanks, my man, for the METARs. We got that in 1019. Railway 2, cloud of visibility okay. 12 degrees, dew points 4. So it should be a nice calm arrival. It shouldn't be rocky or anything. It should be quite nice and calm coming down. And our top of descent is just within range now, so it's not too far at all, just 40 nautical miles, and then we start to come in. So I'm going to reset the MCP altitude now to 9005. I'll get our minimums in as well. Okay, 9005, which is in. Minimums coming in, we're doing the 0.3 for the RNP, it's a 267 for 776. As we get the minimums in now, as it takes quite a while to ramp them up. That's no worries, my man. Thanks for it though. Thanks for giving us the METARs. If you're in this evening, I'll give you a heads up when we're about to get ready to come down. You can pop them in. Okay, so 2670 for a 776 decision height. Okay, we've just checked. Localizer, which we're going to take for the DME reference, which is the 111.1. Okay, which is in. We also wanted the Randenburg NDB, which is going to be 303. That'd be quite fiddly. It's a fiddly thing. Okay, so there's a 303, which is in 30,000. There's our top of descent, which is now just approaching. Going to hit Toulouse for 9,500 above. So the aircraft's all ready and set now to come in for runway 26. So we put the Mach decimal 8 for our speed for cruise. You're going to see the speed tape over on the left of the PFD just slow down to Mach decimal 7.9 for the descent mode. So the aircraft's going to start to slow itself down just before the top of descent, which should be probably just about couple of nautical miles just beforehand. There's our top of descent, which is ready for dorsal, and that's where we'll then start to send the aircraft. Terrain in the vicinity, we've got 1003 and 2005 at the moment. We should start seeing the mountains come into view. We can just see the tips of them just over here. And then we start getting ready to come in. So go overhead now, seatbelt signs can now go on. Ding the cabin, let them know that we are ready to go. And just before the top of the descent, we'll get the engine start switches to continuous. Currently heading now the 219. And that's us ready to come in. We've got the flight recorder system, so we've got the replay system in, so I can check out the approach once we do come into Innsbruck, which should be quite nice to see as well. Going to be coming in on the 256. We can get the courses in. Onto 258. and we come down to 232. Okay, I just checked. There's a speed now decelerating as we go into our top of descent. Okay, we'll get the localized DME over on VOR number 2. Not sure if there is a VOR down here. The aircraft's going to start its descent now. There's our top of descent just within reach. The aircraft slowed down now to decimal 76 on the mark. Okay, and we've got the NDB as well, which we can trigger in, which will come up once it comes within range, which is a 303. Okay, so everything's quite above board. Everything's in and ready to go. There's a decel now. Engine starts switching to go to continuous. Ding the cabin, let them know that we're on our way. As we now leave at flight level 300. Around 18,000 feet, I'm going to switch QNHs over, which will be 1019. And there's Tulsi, which is right in front of us before that left-hand turn, which then takes us to Randenburg, and there is the start of the approach. I'll get the aircraft into around flaps 10 just before we come down, or we could get down flaps 15. It's going to be quite a slow approach coming down. Going to be descending down, so we can get our approach speed as well. So progress that's 43245, which is 0.2, 63.7. Okay, which is checked. And we'll give it a nice slow speed of a 139 plus 5, it's under 10 knots. I don't want to come in too fast down in low, it's 146, that'd be a 151. Give it also brake number 2, it should be fine. As we now descend through flight level 270, we can see the mountain tops now just starting to come into view. As we descend, we've got 9,500 feet above once we get to Tulsi. And we need to stay there, and then for the Whiskey India 002 for 9,500 feet, which we can confirm as we come down. So we've just run that through on the FMC. So for the Tulsi 3 Alpha, we ride in on the 155, which is at 9,500 feet above. Descend down for 9,500, which is going to be above on the Randenburg for the 303 for the NDB, which we've got in. Once we hit Randenburg, we're then going to make a right-hand turn, which will take us on to the 232. The Whiskey India 002. That'll be at 9,500, which we can see. And once we hit there, we're going to turn onto the 244 for the 3.5 degree glide path. We'll drop down the minimums, drop our MCP altitude down to minimums, to send it all the way down. And then at the Whiskey India 103, the aircraft will make a slight right hand turn. If we haven't got down to our minimums by then, we'll disconnect and then follow the aircraft through onto the arrival. So everything's all there. We're coming in, we've got our rev speed, which is VREV plus 40, VREV 40 plus 5, which is going to give us a 144. So we're looking around about 900 feet per minute on the descent. Got the RNP, which is 0.30, so we can check that as well, which is 0.30, and that should change about, we'll just put that to 0.30 as well, which is there. That's checked and set. And the aircraft's now pretty much all configured to come in. Whiskey India 1103, which is 3003, so that's literally going to be running down past the minimums, make that right hand turn, it should be all good to come in. That's passed through 24,400 feet. Now riding in, we've got the 216, and then once we reach down to Tulsi, we'll then make that left hand turn onto the 178 and into the 175. So, cabin crew prepared the cabin for arrival, as we now get ready to go into the mountains. Passing through 23,500 feet. And don't forget, be here tonight around 6 PM. We'll be flying out of Sion, that lovely Swiss airport that we did last night, which is absolutely amazing approach for the IGS-25. We'll be passing out there tonight, so it'll be nice and snowy. Lovely scenic weather when we leave. Don't know where we're going to go to yet, but we'll find out very shortly. So speed brakes are armed, now passing through 22.7. Auto brake set for number 2. I think the cause of the crash when we was doing the A330, I think it was something to do with the flight recorder replay system and that A330, because ever since we've gone back, like with the 737 and the Phoenix, everything's been running fine. Like, it always gives about a 5 to 7 second pause to sort of establish itself. But with the A330, that was the first time I've used it with the flight recorder system, and I think that was the cause. But with the other crashes that we had a few weeks ago, around a month ago, when we was doing the 7.3 and the Phoenix, I think that was caused due to the bitrate being too high, or the GPU on this laptop was just going a little bit too hot, and that's what was running it down. So I think that was the issue there on that front. So we've got Rattenberg NDB, which is now in, which you can see the blue dot or the blue line, and the NDB is in for Rattenberg, which is checked. We've set the RNP, the required navigational performance, 0.3 to 0.3 of a nautical mile. The actual navigation performance is 0.6, which is fine. Vertical deviation, we're on profile as we descend down. If you wanted to check that out as well, you go down the vertical bearing. So once 3005 is going to be for 9500 above. So once we hit Tulsi, we're only going to be around 11.9 nautical miles. And that's when I'm going to start to slow the aircraft down and get it all ready. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it was the A330, because it's never done that before. It's never froze like that. So for it to do that, it was one of them ones where it was like, oh well, what's going on here, you know? But yeah, I think it's straightened itself out now. I'm going to switch QNHs over now. 1019, which is set. Vertical deviation will just drop down a little bit more, so we can compensate for the QNH switchover. Get the flight recorder replay system in now, and we'll set that all up ready to go. So there'll be about a 7 second pause once I turn the recorder on, but after that it'll come back to normal and we'll be all good and set to go. So save that, hit the record, aircraft will pause for around 5 to 7 seconds, and then it will come back to let us know that the aircraft is recording. Well, we hope. That's what it usually does all the time anyway. Okay, so there's that right hand turn. 18,005, check on our speeds, 282, 265 for Rattenberg. So I'm going to get the aircraft down as we come down, onto the progress, onto the descent, 282 on the speed. We haven't got really that long to go, 11 nautical miles. So once we hit for Tulsi, I'm going to say that we want Tulsi, which is going to be down 4250. Okay, I'll start to decel the aircraft. Then we've got 240, and I'm going to say for 210 down there. Okay. That should be checked. And 210, which is going to be checked for Rattenberg. It's just so the aircraft can start to slow down. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it was just the A330 that was causing that problem. So I think it's resolved itself now. I was a little bit curious after we did the 330 and it froze. I was a little bit curious as to what was going to happen, but it seemed to be okay. So hopefully everything's all sorted and we're all ready to go. 9005 to 3003. I'm going to put the minimums in, which is 2670. As we descend down, it'll hold 9000 above. Then we're going to take that right hand turn, which will lead us on to the 178. Okay, 178, which is checked. The detail point will be down to 210, which will be our up speed. You see the speed tape now just slowly moving down. I'm going to help it along. Open up speed brakes. That's past 15,006. So as we ride down to Rattenberg now. Passing through 40,007. Get the landing lights, which are all on. Runway tunnel flights, which can go on and checked. Engine start switches are continuous. Plus 1 degree now as we descend down. Turn the anti-ice off when it gets near to 10. It should be alright for us. We're going to control column over now. 250, we've got 11 nautical miles. Then we get down to Rattenberg, then the Whiskey 002. Okay, so cabin crew, take your seats for arrival. So let's go. But yeah, make sure you're here at 6 PM this evening as we ride out of Sion in Switzerland. Lovely scenic departure it's going to be. I'm not sure whereabouts we're going to go. 210. I'm going to knock that down to 195. So I want to get the aircraft properly all done. So 195. Let's do 185. There we go. 185 for Rattenberg. Should be in. Bang. Boom. That'll set us up to slow right down. The speed brakes can now be opened. I'll just pass through 12,009. Drop the minimums now. Drop down to 2005. Drop down to 2000. Down, leave it there. At least we'll continue that descent. It's getting a little bit choppy now. To reach 210, we can do max flaps 10. That speed brakes out. LNAV VNAV engaged, 40 LNAV. Okay, speed brakes are now in. Flaps 5, which can go down. Okay, and under 210 we go flaps 10. Got the 232, which is next. Now the aircraft's going to descend down to 9005. Speed's managed. FMC, unable 210, that's fine. Let's go into that right hand turn. For the actual descent, which is going to be for around 900 feet per minute, I'm going to drop down into a flaps 15 just before we get to the Whiskey India 002. As it wants 210 for the Whiskey India 210, so we'll drop that down. What we've got in now, we've got 172, so say 160, which is fine. I'll deceler some more, that will clear that out of the FMC. Then we go from the 232, which will take us to the 244. So I want to keep the aircraft nice and stable, we don't want to be doing things too cranky. Leave it down on flaps 10, it's going to drop to 160 once we pass the Whiskey India 022. So speed brakes can go back to armed, because we're not going to need them now. They're in green. And we'll run off our approach checklist and landing checklist once we get just a little bit nearer. MCP altitude set for 2000, just so we run down. Minimums needs to be an extra 50 feet above, so 2670, which would be 2720. So we don't run underneath our minimums. Just going to do a 776 on the decision height. So there's a descent now. Now we've just passed at Whiskey Whiskey 2, flaps 15, gear down. There's vertical deviation. Now as we come down, VNAV speed, we need to go into VNAV path. So we can descend down. Then we'll get the aircraft. Once vertical deviation comes back, we can then get back into VNAV path. So as it comes up now, there's VNAV path back, so the aircraft will follow the vertical deviation for the descent profile. Gears down, 3 green. As we've got time, we can take a look at the views outside. So yeah, something over in that direction is making things a little bit choppy. So I'm not sure why. So again, if we was in VNAV speed, the aircraft would have followed the speed of the aircraft on its descent rate. It wouldn't have followed the vertical deviation, and for this approach, obviously for the RNAV approach, we need the aircraft to be in the VNAV path, so it follows the path and we manage the speed on the way up. Okay, passing through 8,000 feet. As we now pass the Rattenberg, can switch over the 111.1, which is just going to give us a reference for the DME. As we don't need none of that in, the aircraft's going to follow the VNAV path. So we're just going to use that as reference. Okay, flaps 25. And flaps 30. Okay, we're doing flaps 40. Got our VREV 40 plus 5, which is a 144 on the approach speed. Then we'll run through our landing checklist. Minimums is around 770 feet, so probably around 820. Still 13 nautical miles to go from the localizer. Then on that decel point for the Whiskey India, which would be 144, so we'll make sure we're fully configured before we make that right hand turn into the airport. And Laui is going to be sitting just right there. So there's the airport, which is fine. I'm going to put auto brake number 3 so we can slow down quite shifty. So you can see that we've got the light for the localizer, etc., but we're just using it for DME reference. We're actually coming down on the RNAV approach, which is fine. Okay, so we're going to flaps 40 now. And we go for a landing checklist. So we've got gear down, 3 green, flaps 40, green light, which is set. Auto brake set for number 3, engine start switch is continuous, engine anti-ice switch is off, packs are auto, bleeds are on, cabin has been advised, and we are cleared to land. There's our 144. And we've got 2720 on the MDA. So enjoy the arrival, guys, and don't forget I'll be back at 6 PM this evening when we fly out of lovely Sion, Switzerland for that spectacular departure, and I'll make sure that we've got a lovely, nice approach for us this evening to try out as well. Check. That's in 4,600. So just under 2,000 to go now. Aircraft's fully configured, fully established, ready to come in. Switch to 258, which is going to be the track. So this is the authorization required RNP Yankee 26, or the RNP Zulu should I say, so the AR, which means authorization required, so only certified pilots fly this approach down. Altitude 3007. Aircraft will make a slight right hand turn now to line up with the runway. How's it going, my man? Just open the autopilot, just hit the CMDA. Should ride us in. There's that right hand turn now to line up with the runway. Okay, 300 feet to go. Everything the autopilot does is configured through the FMC. 1000 minimums. Guys, so we can turn that off. No, we don't need that. 111, 111. She's checked.
Approaching minimums.
Minimums continue. Okay, autopilot is mine. Get ready down for the puppies, 2 red, 2 white. Deviation correction.
400. 300. 200. 100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, speed brakes are up and reversers are active. They have a little bit of a bump and grind. Turn around at the end. Any knots, reversers can be stowed. Manual braking. And here we are in a lovely Malawi. Okay, so we'll turn the aircraft around. Hey, thanks, my man. Yeah, it's a short runway, this one, so you can't really mess about too much trying to get it to be all hinky-dory, as we'd say. So we'll spin the aircraft around, then go back to stand. We've got the flight replay system as well, so that'll be something to check out on our way back. And welcome to lovely Innsbruck. So speed brakes can be switched back. That's going to be retracted as we now make our way to stand. Something in that direction is affecting the performance for some reason, but we'll be coming in the opposite direction, so once we just taxi off, it should then go back to normal. It'll be fine for the replay system anyway. So flaps will be fully retracted, get the APU on after 1.5 minutes after landing, and that is us into lovely Innsbruck. Auto brake can be turned off, which is checked. Runway turn off lights, get the landing lights, which will be all set. Terrain, master caution. And there you go, that's the RNP Zulu for the AR approach. But we will be back here at 6 PM this evening, down in Sion. Lovely, lovely airport, probably the best airport that I've flown to with the approach. It's absolutely fantastic scenery last night, and we'll be departing out of there this evening, and we'll be doing another nice approach somewhere. So be sure to pop in around 6 PM this evening, so GMT time, and we'll be here ready to fly another lovely flight with the PMDG 737. So landing lights, which can now go off. What have we got here? Right forward over wing, left forward over wing. Don't know if I set off the doors maybe. Either way. Okay, engine starts, we're just going to go off. Don't know why the doors opened. And now we'll taxi on to stand. Yeah, I didn't really have time to mess about on this one. It was either come down and literally just let her come down. If we had a long runway, then it'd be different. We could sort of stabilise it a bit more, but you don't have a lot of room to play with. You see where we landed and then we slowed down. We literally just got there just in the nick of time, and that was with auto brake number 3. So as we go down the little slope, go down onto stand, we'll get the flight recorder replay system in, and that'll be us ready to come in. So yeah, there's something in that direction that's triggering the performance. I'll be back on the PC in a couple of days time, so we'll have even better scenery, better views and better performance on that aspect. So go overhead now. Don't know why the overwing doors are open, and check them out and see why. Let's have a little look. So overwing, nothing's there, everything seems to be fine on that bit. Let's get that back in. There we go. It's a little bit choppy down here. So I don't know why it's choppy in that direction. There's obviously something that's triggering it off, but we're coming back from the back, so performance will be back normal. But thanks to all you guys that did join us today. And we're back to 6 PM, as I say, for Switzerland, and you don't want to miss them views when we depart out. Short runway as well. And I don't know where we're going to go. Maybe somewhere in Switzerland, do a 2-sector flight. I'm just going to park up on this hard right, or we'll go right in front of the airport. You can see the airport right there. So, see, and then you see the performance, something right there, because as soon as I turn just to here, the performance goes back to normal. So there's something in that direction right there that's clearly causing that. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the flight. So I'll just turn it a little bit more. There you go, that'll keep the performance there. Okay, we'll park up at the front of the airport. APU is now ready to switch over. Click and check. Go to APU Gen, which is cleared. Runway time flights, taxis can be turned off. Strobe to steady, which I did forget. Okay, and I'm going to park in right around here. Okay, so we'll set the brake. Actually, I'm not going to set the brake because I don't want it to interfere with the flight recorder system. So we'll get that set. Hold on. There we go. Let's get the one that's recording, shall we? There we go. So let's clear that one off. Pause this, load it up, and then we can go and check the lovely arrival that we've got today. So 1350. Here's our approach. So we'll get that set in, get that set down on the runway as well, and I hope you guys do enjoy the arrival. So just give it a few moments to load up.
Approaching minimums.
Okay, let's get down on the runway so we can actually get the view set up for us as well. Okay. Oops, there we go. There we go. And that's set there. Run that through. So I'll just set up the views and then you guys can enjoy that lovely scenic arrival. First time doing that RNP Zulu into 2.6, usually done the circle to land. I hope you guys do enjoy that, and you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, as we'll be here again, as I say, at 6 PM this evening. So just get a nice view for you guys. Push around a bit. And there we go. So let's load her up and see what the approach was saying. I'll write it down to about here. And reset the autopilot. Okay, just set the speed brakes back. There we go. Okay, and enjoy the flight, guys. I'll see you this evening. Yeah, there's something that's doing it, VK. I don't know what it is, but it is something doing it. It's a little bit annoying, but hopefully I'll be back on the PC anyway. So I'll see you at 6 PM tonight, my friend. Thanks to everybody who joined us today, and I will see you at 6 PM for the Sion departure, ready to go somewhere lovely for our approach tonight. So I'll see you guys this evening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all later on. Bye bye.